Welcome back to Free Media. I'm Robby Soave.
And I'm Niall Stanage. FBI Director Kash Patel testified before the House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday, and he was grilled by Congressman Thomas Massie, who remains unsatisfied with the administration's handling of the Epstein files. Here was part of their exchange.
According to victims who cooperated with the FBI in that investigation, these documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jess Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to, victims including minors such as Virginia Roberts Giuffre, may she rest in peace. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI does. Have you launched any investigations into any of these people, and have you seen these 302 documents?
Sir, I have asked my FBI agents to review the entirety of the Epstein files and bring forth any credible information. And we're working with Congress not only to divulge that information and produce it to you, but any investigations that arise from any credible investigation will be brought. There have been no new materials brought to me launching a new indictment.
Maybe the magician made the files disappear from Pam Bondi's desk.
My ears did perk up when I heard that. I'm not going to get us into legal jeopardy by speculating as to who that could be, but yeah, I can have a few guesses, certainly.
Yes. So the problem, of course, for Kash Patel is he just doesn't have credibility on this because, and Pam Bondi had said, we already had this. He says now, we're combing through this information, but you made it sound like you already had the information. Right. And you, in fact, packaged it and gave it to MAGA influencers. Yeah. This was a rough 24 hours for Kash Patel. He was also grilled by the senators yesterday, Adam Schiff. Cory Booker yelled at him in a way that I thought was a bit incoherent, saying like your job is in jeopardy or something, which he doesn't know that, and I have no reason to think that actually is the case. Yeah. But there was some MAGA frustration with how Patel handled the investigation, or was perceived to handle the investigation into the shooter, the killer of Charlie Kirk. They did apprehend the guy in 2 days, though, so at the end of the day, I'm not sure what that comes to.
Yeah, look, I think that Kash Patel has performed poorly as FBI director, and I think it is evidence of the dangers of getting someone whose prowess, such as it is, really lies in doing this kind of thing, honestly, podcasting or communicating and all of that. And I think we see the dangers of that in a number of areas. Now, the Epstein matter was just bungled by just about everybody in the Trump administration. That was, to my mind, an obviously self-inflicted wound. But in relation to the killing of Charlie Kirk, I think the issue is less that the FBI got the guy or got the suspect in a short period of time, and more Patel's tendency to make these kind of like, for example, he announced that they had got someone completely different who proved to be wrongfully identified or wrongfully suspected. And it is this idea of very serious matters being driven by that kind of desire for acclaim or social media clout or attention. And to the point about the Senate hearing, I think one of the less convincing parts of that from Patel's point of view was these defences he was offering of the firing of FBI personnel. There was one exchange where he was asked, were people fired because they were simply assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case against Trump or January the 6th related cases? And he said, in so many words, not solely to do with that. And it's like, well, were they or weren't they? Was that a contributory factor? When he was put under pressure, he does that Kash Patel thing of just sort of screaming at people and shouting and making a lot of noise, but often, to my mind, doesn't address the underlying questions, which I think is one of the reasons why he is under such pressure.
Yeah, I think I'd say I'm mildly disappointed with his performance thus far, because I actually quite liked some of the things he'd had to say in podcast appearances before he got the job about restructuring the agency to be more about, frankly, law enforcement and investigating crimes, and less of a more national security adjacent position, that there should be more of the officers in the field dispersed throughout the country, ways to streamline the organization. That all sounded pretty good to me. And then, of course, promised massive disclosures on the Epstein front, which, Thomas Massie is still doggedly pursuing. I have some questions about the Epstein matter, if it's truly that there's too many not credible witnesses, including people who've appeared at press conferences now with Thomas Massie, who now, having looked closer into what they claim, have changed their stories dramatically over the years to coincide with larger prospects for payouts. But you can't pretend that there's no story here, and they certainly thought when they were pursuing the case or when they were talking about it on podcasts, there was a big deal. You can't promise people massive revelations and then give them nothing. And to Massie's point, he's reading the names of people involved in that there should be more information on that is not being disclosed for a variety of reasons.
Right. I mean, look, there is obvious and valid reasons for more disclosure on the Epstein matter. And I think that the promise that disclosure was about to be made and then the failure to make it has understandably ignited a whole lot of suspicion. And it is one of the rare issues where you do see the Trump base being at least discontented, and there are a significant number of Republicans in polls who are unhappy with all of that. Is that all Kash Patel's fault? No, it's not. I mean, Pam Bondi was the one who said the thing about the client list on her desk, which then got them into a whole sea of trouble. But I think that Patel is one of the people involved in that to his own detriment. Just briefly getting back to the FBI, even broader than Patel, there are real issues with some of these people who have been fired. A guy by the name of Brian Driscoll, for example, suggesting that under polygraph tests, he was asked who he had voted for in previous elections and things like that, and about his attitudes toward Trump. Those things being asked of law enforcement officers, particularly the voting intention, that seems to me just obviously unjustified.
Yeah, that doesn't seem even legal, really. I mean, I know some people coming to this administration take the position that, well, we won, so we got to replace everybody with our guys. I think that can easily go, way too far if you're just you just scour their social media history for how they feel about
Trump comments
things
or whatever.
If they're in policy-making roles, they should be aligned with the administration to certainly to some degree. I don't like the idea of a permanent government class operating totally independent of the will of the voters or the changing of the political winds, but we would like I think we would like an FBI that is less partisan rather than more partisan.
Right, and not one that therefore swings so a Democrat now gets in and throws out all the people who are currently in it and replaces them with loyalists to whoever the Democrat should have.
You didn't get the memo, Niall? No one cares about hypocrisy anymore.
Seems like nobody.
That's just totally over.
It seems like nobody does.
No, they did it, so we can do it now. That's the argument.
It's so depressing. I mean, there was just and some of the free speech arguments, which, to give you due credit for, I think you're very consistent about. But so many people are just completely hypocritical about that. It's
Although
wild.
I was glad to see, you can't say conservatives will never push back when some principle is at stake. Pam Bondi
They'd get criticism.
Body slammed for the hate speech or the firing. Employers had to fire people who were insufficiently deferential to Kirk, and everybody said, nope, that's not what we want. So I was glad to see that.
Yeah, not everybody did, but a lot of people did.
A lot of people did, yeah. And she had to kind of walk that back. Thanks for watching Free Media this week. We really appreciate it. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing, and we'll be back with more great content next week. Take care.